What's up, everyone? This is Mike Casu, and you're listening to the Brute Strength Podcast. This week I interviewed Katrin Davidsdottir, the CrossFit Games champion. This one is really good. I had no idea before this interview how wise this young lady is, but it's interesting that I had this interview this close to the Justin Sua podcast a couple weeks ago, because a lot of the things that we talked about in that podcast, Katrin either does these things naturally, such as has a growth mindset. She has a great relationship with failure and treats it as an opportunity for growth. A lot of these things that Justin, the sports psychologist for the Red Sox, a lot of the things that he said, she either naturally does or she has learned them and worked on them in the past couple years. Very wise young lady. And you can, the things that she talks about on this thing, you not only can apply to your performance in sport, but as also your life. So it's terrific, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Also, we have one more week to sign up for Brute Body until July 3rd at midnight. So if you want to sign up for that, you're not going to have the chance for another long time. So you can, if you're interested in learning more, you can go to brutestrengthtraining.com/programs. Enjoy the show. What's up, everyone? I'm here with Katrin Davidsdottir. Katrin, thank you so much for making the time to do this. I know you're super busy training for the games. I'm very grateful that you could make some time for this.
Hey, thanks for having me. Very excited.
So the regionals are over. Can you tell us a little bit about what does it feel like being done with regionals, right? You work all year long basically trying to make the games, and then it's a totally like different time period from regionals to the games. What is that what happens in your mind once regionals is done?
It's the best feeling in the world to make to the games. It's like this time of the year is by far my favorite. I love all year round. I love the off season. You get a chance to really hammer your weaknesses, and along with my coach Ben Bergeron, he makes sure that I go into the season feeling confident in every single movement and strength and all of that. And then it's open season and regionals. And regionals, I love competing at regionals. I don't love training for regionals so much. Being in the last week, you have to do the workouts over and over and over again and practice the movements and put them in different combinations and different time lengths and all of that. So I don't know. So when it gets to regionals, though, you're ready and it's I've said this so many times before, but the competition floor is truly my favorite place on earth. I don't know what it is. I honestly kind of feel like a superhuman. I can lift more than I can in training, and I can go faster, and I have more endurance, and it's an incredible feeling. But making it to the games and competing at the games is something that we think about all year round. That's what the off season is based off on. So like we want to peak at the games, and going through the open and regionals. It's always like you don't want to peak too soon. It's like everything is based around that 1 week in July. But it's kind of crazy to say this though, but I think that even more than that week in July, like competing at the games, I love this. I love the training for the CrossFit Games. So every day, waking up, going to the gym, giving it everything that you have. Leave the gym totally trashed. So try to give it everything that you have. And then, recovering, spending time in recovery, eating well, sleeping well, showing up again and doing it all over again. It's the unknown factor. It's the training, everything. It's the outside. It's the good weather. It's the training partners. It's
right.
Yeah, it's great.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's like what you just explained is kind of textbook mastery, right? If you want to master anything, you have to fall in love with the process, and that's exactly what you're describing right now. So it's really cool to hear you say that. I've heard from a couple games athletes that even though the CrossFit Games is the pinnacle and it's what you train for all year long, regionals is a little more stressful because they always have in their mind, like, what if I don't make it to the CrossFit Games? Like, what does that mean about me? Like, I don't even deserve to be there. What's your experience with that?
You know what? I've been on both end of the spectrums. I've been the one that hasn't made it to the games. And I've been the one that's made it to the games. So, of course, making it to the games, like I said, it's the best feeling in the world. You get to train for the games, compete at the games, all of that. But when I didn't make it to the games, it was honestly, I didn't think it at the time. It took some time for that to settle in, but it was honestly the best thing that could have happened to me. I think it's very easy to become complacent. It's really easy to be, happy with where you are. You're a good athlete. You make it to the games every year, and have those kinds of thoughts. But I think it's truly like something like that, like not making it to the games was a huge slap in the face for me. And it was kind of like showed me that, okay, I don't just want to be a games athlete. I want to be the best version of me. I want to become, if I can become better, then I want to be better. And it just really showed me how much I wanted it and how hard I was willing to work for it. So I know what it feels like to not make it to the games. I never ever want to not make it to the games when I'm focusing on it and when I'm really trying to. So the process for that is the same as anything else. Going into regionals, you can't think about placings or, how it's going to go. The same as the games. You kind of got to think about it one workout at a time and give it all you got. And if the process of the whole year, if you maximize that and you get to game day and, again, you give it everything that you have, I don't think you can ever be disappointed in the outcome. So, when you're ever stressed about any outcome, like you might not make to the games or, you might not do well at the games or you might not win or whatever you're thinking about, that for me is always good to go back on that,
Mm-hmm.
If I know that I have given it everything that I have. And that's what I think the daily thing is, that, you just want to leave the season and, leave the years and the sport whenever the time comes. You want to leave it knowing that not only did you give everything that you had on game day, but you give everything that you have leading up to it.
Right.
So, I don't know. That way, it kind of, for me, that takes away the nerves. Not that you want to have nerves. Nerves are good.
Right. Well, if you focus on your effort, that's something that you are in control of. So you don't have to stress out nearly as much about your effort because you can give all of your effort at any given moment. You're not in control of how well the field does, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's not, focusing on results is so totally out of your control. It depends on all of the other girls, and the only thing you can focus on is you. So, of course it creeps up in your mind. You're nervous, could I be the one that doesn't make the games this year? But that's something that, I don't focus on. I don't focus on the leaderboard. I don't focus on the other girls. I don't focus on what judge I got or what lane I got. It's all me and what I can do. So that's something that, whether it's regionals or the games, something that I just try and focus on.
That's great advice. I want to talk a little bit about habits. I hear you are a creature of habit.
Yeah.
What are the things that you do every single day?
I pretty much, honestly, everything I do every single day. It's, I work with Adi on my nutrition, and she knows that I eat the same thing every single day. I do the same warm-up every single day. I have a long warm-up that's an hour and a half, but I love it. And
Nice.
So I wake up every morning, and I always sit down over breakfast. That's something, I don't know why, but that's how I start my day. I have to sit down. I have a cup of coffee with a little bit of half and half in. I have my eggs scrambled with broccoli slaw, and I have oatmeal, banana, and a big glass of water. I start my day with a big glass of water. And I have to sit down and eat it. Something about if you're even if you're just standing in the kitchen eating your breakfast, it doesn't settle me. Like my whole day feels kind of like tweaked, or I'm like on edge or something.
Right.
Um, so I sit down and have breakfast. I'll normally like scroll through Instagram or, if I have any emails that I have to answer, I'll do that in the morning. I like doing things in the morning. Get ready, and if I have time, I love reading a few pages of whatever I'm reading at that time.
Yeah.
So if I can do that in the morning, I feel like that sets my day up perfectly. And then at about 9 o'clock, I go to the gym, and I do a long warm up. I breathe every day. I stretch. I mobilize.
What does that mean? You breathe every day?
I practice like diaphragmatic breathing.
What does that look like exactly for those?
I lay on my back for 10 minutes and practice deep breathing. I can't really explain it. Like
with your hand on your stomach, and you have to lift your hand, right?
I don't lift my hand. One hand's on my stomach and one hand on my like chest.
Gotcha.
And then what I like to do is warm up. So like when I start my first workout, I want to be like sweating. Like I almost always do like a workout for my warm up.
Okay.
And then I normally train until like, I don't know, lunch time-ish. But I sometimes eat lunch, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just like, if I have a lot of stuff to do later and I only have like an hour break, I normally just do like a protein shake, and I always eat like a portion of fruit or something like that. And then I'll train again. And then I'll always eat, and I always eat tuna salad. That's like my favorite lunch in the world.
Judo salad?
Tuna salad.
Tuna salad.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then it's probably like 4 or 5 o'clock when I leave the gym. And then the next thing that I do is always just kind of focus on what recovery I can do. And normally, like, I don't know, like at lunchtime or then I'll always try and read a few pages in the book that I'm reading. And I love reading anything like sports psychology or sports biographies, or even just like anything. Like, I don't know, any kind of like, I read a lot of basketball stuff. My grandpa's big into basketball, and he sometimes gets me books that he's reading and he wants me to read. And I love that. And then, I'll always spend some time in the norm attacks or, with a muscle stim or something, just to make sure that I'm like fully prepped for the next day. I'll eat dinner. What I normally do, I eat dinner a lot with the Bergerons. They live like 2 minutes away from me, so I'll normally like prep my meals and I'll go eat with them. They're like my family here, and it's great. I love spending time with them. And then I do always get in at least 8 hours of sleep, sometimes more. So
very cool.
That's my day.
Very, very cool. What sports psychology book has had the biggest impact on you?
Probably like the first one. So I was never into reading, and I didn't even like reading. I had a really hard time reading, which is weird because everyone in my family reads a lot. But it was after I didn't make the games. It was that summer. After I didn't make the games, I kind of took a little break. I just like went on vacation with my family. We went to Morocco, and I just started reading. I read the first one that I read was called The Gold Rush. I don't know, have you read it? It's Michael Johnson.
No, I've heard of it though. I haven't read it though.
So good. That was kind of the first book that showed me, he was at like, I don't know, it looked like he was the best in the world. That's what it looked like. And he was supposed to, and like you're never supposed to, but win the gold in the 100 and 200 meter at the Olympics. Like he was the fastest. He hadn't lost a race in I don't know how many years. And he gets like a stomach bug or something right before it, and of course in tapering week, and of course because he isn't training that much, he doesn't realize that he's losing like power and strength. And when it comes to like the Olympics, he doesn't even make it to the finals. I don't even think he made it to the semifinals. Like, does not understand what he'd never like. I don't even know when he lost a race, and that hit him hard, but. he worked so hard that in 96, he didn't only win gold in the 100 and 200, but he had added an extra run. He ran the 400 also, was like the fastest man alive. And that's like, showed me that anyone that gets to the top doesn't just, it's so easy for people on the outset to say, oh, Michael Johnson is probably like naturally gifted. It's like, oh, he probably has more talent. That's why he's just better. But it's always hard work, and it's not like they just got there naturally. He failed, you know? There are detours on the way there, and that's okay. The fact that you failed doesn't mean you're any worse than anyone else, or that you're not meant to be there, or anything like that. And then I read another one, like right after that one, that was Jessica Ennis, and she won the gold medal in the heptathlon in London. And 4 years before that, she was the same, was like people expected her to be contending for the gold in Beijing, and she broke her leg or her like ankle or something right before, so she couldn't compete. So she comes back in 2012, and sure enough, she's like the face of the Olympics and wins gold, and it's just like, that's how it works a lot of the times. And the fact that I hadn't made it to the games didn't mean that I was any less of an athlete than anyone else, or that I didn't belong there, or so those were that. And then after that, I started working a lot more with Ben Bergeron, and he works a lot on the mental side, and talks to me a lot before training and after workouts, and what I was thinking about, and what I should be focusing on, and kind of like him talking to me at the same time that I read my first sports psychology book. It's called The Champion's Mind: How Champions Think, Train, and Thrive, by Jim Afremov. And very good book. It's a lot of like stories, about like, I don't know, ancient Japanese warriors or something that you can just imagine, you can just see happening, and they always give like great like examples, and the stories kind of show you like what they're meaning by everything. And kind of like me reading that at the same time as Ben was talking to me, it all just kind of like sunk in, and I got really interested in it. It felt like it helped me a lot. It helped me focus on the right things, and I don't know, just the whole of last year, I just really learned how to love the process. And I think the biggest thing that, I learned last year, of course, I got a lot fitter and stronger and all of that. But my biggest thing was my mental game.
So this is perfect to segue into what I wanted to talk to you about. So a couple years ago, I was at the ECC, and you were on a team on the second day, and there was an event with a deadlift, and I remember you failing it. I don't know how many times. I think you finally got it, but I wanted to ask what was going through your mind in that time. It was very emotional event for you. What was going through your mind in that moment? So
deadlifts are something that I struggle with a lot, and it caught me off guard a few times in competition. First, it was in the 2013 games where we had to. It was a singles event, so it was like 3 rounds of 5 deadlifts. I think it was like 265, and heavy like weighted pistols, and I couldn't get past that event. I couldn't do the deadlifts. I was stuck. And then again, like a year later, ECC, it's like that one sucked a lot on the floor because there was a team depending on me, and we couldn't move forward with the event until I had finished one deadlift at 285. It wasn't even as if I had to rep them out, and I could not pull it up. It was like, it felt like it was glued to the floor. And I finally get it up there. It's like being out on the floor and you can't, or I felt like I physically couldn't do something. You feel very helpless. It's like, what are you gonna do if your body can't pick it up? But that's what I thought at the time. I think I did finish it. I must have pulled it. But anyway, that's like one of the things also is like, that's 2013 that I failed that singles event. And, you always talk about, you need to get better at this and, I should work my deadlifts. But honestly, I didn't work my deadlifts. And it comes up again and I fail again. And it's good. It was great that happened because, a week later we're in the Bahamas and Jesse Burdick is there. And I was like, all right, Jesse, we got to talk.
Nice. Perfect.
So he basically, taught me how to deadlift, like from scratch. And it's totally different. So that helped me so much. And I just, sometimes you got to have those big hits for you to like really drastically, change it and work on it and do it. So, when this year's regional workout came out, I got nervous. I got really, really nervous. That was, what was it, 3x7 at 275 with like, killing your core and hamstrings before. So I tweaked my back in training actually, like before I was able to try that workout in regional training, so I wasn't able to try it at all. So when that comes up at regionals, like I was pretty focused on, I had Ben with me at regionals and really able to always like, the night before go over what we were doing the next day. And every day we had our same routine. And he really like prepped me before every workout. That was the only time that I ever felt like I lost focus and, I doubted myself that, maybe what if I couldn't do those deadlifts and what if, I couldn't pull them or whatever. And he, before that event, he was like, we worked so hard on that. You improved so much on that. And again, like whatever happens, as long as it's your best effort out there, that's all you can do. Just do your best. And I went out there and I was like, okay, I can do this. Like I have worked hard on this. And I made all of them unbroken, all rounds. And I came off the floor probably looking like I won the workout. I did not.
Right.
Yeah, I did. But that moment at regionals, that was my favorite one. That was one that I had to overcome something and I had to do something that I had failed on so many previous times. And of course, those, you get flashbacks. And it's important to stay in the present moment and do what you can do at that moment. And I was so happy with how that went.
That is so cool. Such a great experience. I just want to say before we move on, I think you're 22 years old?
Just turned 23.
Just turned 23. Well, I admire so much your outlook on your training and your competition, and I know that bleeds into the rest of your life. You're a very wise young woman, and no matter what age people listening to this are, they have a lot to learn from that. So thank you.
That's actually something that I've talked about a lot. Both Ben and my grandpa are big into John Wooden, and I read a lot of John Wooden books.
Awesome.
And that's kind of like, what do you might say, you might think that they're talking about basketball and the game and how you play, but I think it all comes back to the character that you are. So it's kind of like, and the characters who you are in life, and sports are just kind of like, I don't know, like I feel like they're zoomed in of like a microscopic thing of life. They're just like, everything just comes out way more clearer there, but you can apply everything, all the sports psychology and everything you learn in sports, truly just to your daily life, and that'll carry on.
Right, you can. I think a lot of people miss that point and they never reach their full potential because of that. They try to only apply those principles to one area of their life, and not, their career, their relationships, etc. And they end up leaking, right? We leak energy and power in our body. The same thing happens in our life, right? We leak energy by not having, abiding by those same principles that we do in our athletic.
Totally agree.
So and you've already talked about your relationship with Ben quite a bit, but when you have a bad training day or what you feel like a small failure, how do you and him deal with that failure?
I think it's just important to one bad day isn't gonna define anything. One bad day isn't gonna, foresee anything of what's gonna happen at the games or, whatever we are thinking about. That's, the importance of staying in the presence. Let's say I'm, working on rope climb someday and they're not going the way I want them to, and I feel that they're harder than normal. It might just be that, I don't know, I did a lot of pull-ups the day before, or, maybe I just didn't sleep well, or the only thing that you can really do at that point, the rope climb didn't go well, you got to turn the page and what's the next thing that I'm doing, and I'm going to do that as well as I can do. Or if my training day is over, you know what, maybe I was dehydrated, maybe I should go, drink some water, or maybe I need to sleep more or recover more. It's just, if it was bad, it was bad, whatever. You still did the best you could. You probably still did a lot of rope climbs. You still got better than if you hadn't done them. There's always positives to everything. And if things go wrong, you know what? Tomorrow or the next day will be a great opportunity to do it all over again and even better.
That is great. So you said the words stay present a couple of times. Are there any other ways other than the diaphragmatic breathing that you consciously do to practice staying present?
No, not really.
Just naturally aware. I love that.
Yeah, I try to just be aware of it. If ever in a workout I feel like I was drifting away from the present moment, I will talk to Ben about it and see, how we could figure out a way that I could not do that, or, why I did that and try and prevent that happening again. I don't do any meditation. I feel like reading helps you do that because you can't do anything other than reading when you're reading. It's like you can't be on your phone while you're reading, and you can't eat while you're reading. When you're reading, you are reading. So that might be a good way to kind of stay in the present moment and focus on one task at hand.
Right. I think it's interesting you say that. I think it's important for people to experiment with different things because it can be different for everyone. As you're saying, the reading thing, I actually read a ton, but I'm such a slow reader because I've got all of this background chatter and noise. So a lot of times I'll have to read the same paragraph 3 times. So that is not the way that I practice staying present. But I totally understand what you're getting at. I think different people have, different things that can get them into that space.
Yeah.
Or, kind of undistract themselves. So very cool. So you have a ton of business opportunities and things like that coming up, like sponsorships, going to different camps, all kinds of different gigs.
Yeah.
And, obviously competing and winning the CrossFit Games is the most important thing to you. How do you choose what you say yes to and what you say no to?
I try to be aware of that at the beginning of the year. That, I'll have to choose things that I want to be a part of, and there are things that I'm going to have to say no to. First thing comes first, and you have to know your priorities. You have to know where your goals are and where you want to go and how you're going to get there. And, being the best athlete that I can be, it's not going to be traveling every week. It's not going to be, being on airplanes and showing up at different gyms and not eating the food that I want to be eating. It's being the best athlete that I can be means being in one place. It means sleeping well. It means training with my coach every day. It means, eating the foods that I know are good for me. Um, so any kind of travel, I try to minimize, but at the same time, you want to grab opportunities. You want to experience, the world, and I want to work with my sponsors. So, it's a fine line, but you try and work with it. And, after the games last year, we kind of sat down and we looked at, what competitions do I want to do? And I wanted to do the Icelandic Championships. I wanted to do World Championships in weightlifting, which was a great experience. I wanted to do the ECC Championships, and then the Open Regionals, and now the Games. So, and then I've done some traveling. I did an event in Atlanta here for and I went to Paramonkey Camp. So there's things like that I've been doing. A lot of them are, when I do things like that, I always try, and they all revolve around my training. Like a lot of them, like Power Monkey, like Ben was there, like Chris Hinshaw was there, that I both work with. So they're all opportunities for me to get better, like work with Dave Durante on gymnastics. Like on these trips, I always, it revolves around my training. I'll never sacrifice any training. I try and, if I can, travel with prepared meals, and just make sure that everything stays as normal. And sometimes if I can, everything can stay normal, and I get the opportunity to work with other great coaches, and see other athletes, and I don't know, yeah, it's good. But I try, and at the beginning of the year, or the season, which is what I'm saying, beginning of the year, I'm talking about like September, I just try and pick and choose, and whenever I'm not, you focus as hard as you can on becoming the best athlete you can be. And when you're traveling, try and prepare as well as you can.
Right. Don't wait until you get over there to start making plans, right?
Yeah, like already have your food there, like already know your schedule, so that you make sure that there's always time for training, and then whatever you're doing can revolve around that. Things like that.
Right. What's it been like? You recently moved to Boston. You're in an entirely different country. What kind of challenges has that presented, and how have you dealt with those?
I felt like the biggest challenge was first just like being away from home. Um, just like, not having, I lived with my grandparents, just like not having them every day. We're so close, and not seeing, like, talking to my mom every day. And I used to, like, most lunches I'll always like go out to lunch with my friends, or, little things like that. I miss them a lot. But I'll always remember that, what my goal is, and the reason that I came here is that I want to be the best athlete that I can be. And I am 100% sure, I know with everything that I have, and I believe that this is where I'll do that. I'll do
Right.
that here. I maximize every day. I show up at the gym, and Ben asks me, how do I feel? And that's how I bases the programming for the day. And you make sure that, he's not making me do something that my body is not ready to do that day. But again, like, make sure that I do everything that I can that day, that we don't leave anything missed. So just knowing that, and I'm truly, like, feel like a part of their family when I'm here, and gotten to meet so many amazing people, and Reebok is here. So I've been working a lot with them this year, and that's just like, it just creates more opportunities. And I don't know, just knowing that, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm an athlete. Just knowing that I'm doing that as well as I can, like, gives me peace of mind, and that always assures me that this is what I want to be doing.
Right. That is great. What's your relationship like with your parents?
It's good. They've always been so supportive of me and everything that I do, whether it was like what I wanted to study in school or anything in my athletic career. And they've always been like support me to do this,
Right.
follow my dreams and do it as well as I can. My dad lives in London. Um, so they got divorced when I was like 7,
Hmm.
and he's always lived, or like after they got divorced, he moved back to London. He is actually English, and so I always go and visit him like a few times a year, but we like talk on the phone every now and then. And he's like big into travel, so every summer he would always take me and my siblings, somewhere, I don't know, Thailand or India or, Morocco or Costa Rica. So I've been really lucky that I've gotten to see so much of the world. And my mom lives in Iceland, so she moved actually when I was 16. She moved to Norway, so that's the reason that I moved into my grandparents. I started college, and I was in gymnastics, and I just wanted to stay in Iceland. So, but for the past few years, she's been living in Iceland, and that's always I love like going out to lunch with my mom. When I get any breaks or um, I don't know. I love family. I have like 3 younger siblings too. I have a big family.
Awesome. What when you were growing up, what was your how did your parents talk to you when it came to like school and athletics? Like were they totally relaxed and kind of just let you do your own thing, or if they pushed you, how did they push you?
So in regards to school and athletics, it was a totally different approach. For them, school was important, and school always came first. So there was a lot of emphasis on school, and I always did very well in school. And to everyone in my family, that was always, academics are very important. Um, I was always the one that pushed for the sports. So like if I didn't want to do sports, that'd probably be okay. I don't know, but I always pushed so hard to do sports. Like I wanted to train way more than they probably wanted me to train. Like I was training 6 days a week for 3 to 4 hours since I was
Hmm.
probably like 11 or 12, and they thought it was too much. But that's something that I honestly like. I always wanted to do, and I was stuck on that. I wanted to do that. I was in gymnastics until I was 16, and then after that, I did a bit of track and field, and then boot camp and CrossFit. So I've always been very competitive, very active. Kind of since I was born. Um, it's kind of crazy in that way.
Hmm.
But yeah, so my family is very academic, and I think that too, that it's important to have a degree. But I'm not in school right now. And I was kind of like I've done a year of engineering, and it was practical, but I just didn't like it.
Hmm.
I didn't see myself doing that. So my grandpa, um, he was actually an ambassador, but he's a lawyer. That's his degree. Um, so that's something that I've always looked so much up to him, and I just wanted to always be my grandpa. So that was something that I was like, okay, I'm going to be a lawyer, and I started doing law, and
Nice.
it just wasn't for me, and I was kind of felt like I was very thin spread. Um, I was doing okay in school. I was doing okay in CrossFit and okay with coaching, and there's nothing that I was doing that was great, and that's a horrible feeling since I kind of be thin spread, and you know you want to do well in what you're doing. So it was actually my family that started bringing out, you know what, like why don't you give CrossFit a shot? Like you want to do that, and school will wait for you. Like they could see that um, I was miserable. It was like I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I did. I'll never regret that. Um, it was truly the best thing that I could do is just give CrossFit a shot. And I know, and now I totally know that engineering and law isn't for me. When I go back to school, It will be medicine or sports psychology. Like
Hmm.
that's what I'm interested in, and that's what I want to do. So I don't know. I think we all just have to figure out in some point of time. We'll all figure out what we want to do. Can't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It sounds like you made the right decision for sure. So, you are a female in the fitness industry with an enormous social media following. And in fitness and sports in general, there's such an emphasis on how you look, especially when
Yeah.
it comes to women. Have you ever dealt with any sort of body image issues, any kind of negative self talk, anything like that? And if so, what has been your process for dealing with those?
Yeah, I mean, growing up a gymnast, always, probably since I was like 10, I always wanted to be smaller than I was. I always wanted to be skinnier than I was. I always wanted to, and I think it always came, like when I was a kid, I never thought, and I was never fat or big or anything. It came down to the scale. Like I always just wanted to weigh less. Um, and then I always wanted to be smaller or skinnier and, whatever. And I think that it wasn't until I started CrossFit that I just wanted to be fitter and stronger and healthier, um, which is great. And you have like, when you're looking at, role models in gymnastics are tiny, and I was not tiny. So kind of always like, kind of unhappy. Like, you always want to be different than what you are. So like after starting CrossFit, like you want to be, your goals aren't how you look. They are, they're how you feel. They're how you perform. And I think that's great for, girls today to be able to look up to us and be like, all they want to do is be, stronger or
Hmm.
healthier. And I love that, when people come up to me all the time and like CrossFit competitions and want pictures with me and, you know, things like that. But the ones that I think are really special is when like little girls come up to me and they want pictures with me because they look up to me and they want to do what I do and they want to be stronger and healthier and they want to have muscles like I have. I think that's very cool and that's a very rewarding feeling. Um, so I think as long as anything that, whatever diet you're on or whatever, if that revolves around you being fitter and healthier, and if you're getting stronger and fitter and you're eating for performance, and then that'll like automatically make you feel better about yourself. You're gonna doubt yourself. You're gonna think you're too heavy or you're too fat or something if you feel like you're not performing well. But I think as soon as you see process and you know that you're doing everything that you can, you're just gonna it's confidence and you're gonna feel better about yourself and I just think it's so happy for everyone to just feel happy in their own body and just how your body works, not how it looks.
So it sounds like your advice would be to to women that struggle with this. Your advice would be to basically align your goals with your actions, right? So your goal would be to just be fitter because they're already trying to be fitter. So just align your goals with your actions, right?
Yeah. So if your body is doing what you want it to do, so if it's not like fit into a certain size, maybe it is, and that's okay. But I always feel like the healthier and it's a way more fun approach
Hmm.
to just like expect things from your body to be able to lift more weight or to be able to run the mile faster, and that's just it's so black and white too. Like if suddenly CrossFit results are so obvious. Like if suddenly you can do a Metcon faster than you could before, or that you're suddenly stronger, or that you can run faster. It's such a rewarding feeling. You put in so much hard work, and it's really blood, sweat, and tears, and it produces something. It produces results.
Hmm.
Um, and that's if you're constantly getting small wins, it's just I don't know. I love that feeling. I love the feeling of every day waking up being like, you just want to go to bed being better.
Right. I love that too. Great advice. Can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with Sara and Annie? Y'all are all from the same place. You're 3 of the top 10 CrossFit Games athletes of all time. It seems like there would be a mixture of kind of camaraderie and like intense competitiveness. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, totally. So I've kind of known both of them since I started CrossFit. So the reason that I started CrossFit is actually because of Annie. It was the summer of 2011, and I'd kind of like, I'd been doing gymnastics, and then, wasn't really into gymnastics anymore, so I started track, and then kind of like didn't find anything that I wanted to do everything, and so I didn't find like an event that I wanted to focus on, and then it was you're just like kind of playing around with everything, and I want to wake up with a goal in mind. I love waking up with, I don't know, with like a purpose. You're striving towards something, you're striving to becoming better at something, and I just needed that. So I was kind of like lost there. I didn't have like anything that I wanted to work towards there. And then that summer, Annie wins the games, and it's all over the news and the media in Iceland. And my grandma and my mom were like, you know what? Like, why don't you try that? Like, you could be good at that.
No shit.
So I did that. I went to the gym that she was at, which was boot camp, and then had boot camp and CrossFit, and I started both, and just absolutely loved it. And around the same time that I was starting, like Sara was starting at the same time. So I would train with her like every now and then. But she's from a town that's like further out.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, I've really like started getting to know Annie, and our relationship has grown so much, and she's one of my best friends. So when we're in Iceland, we will train together all the time. When we're here, like we text and we talk, and truly just one of my best friends. Great girl. Very like, I don't know, I know her family. They're all down at CrossFit Reykjavik too. So that's like, there are a few, of course, like we're competitors, and I want to win, and she wants to win. But I honestly couldn't imagine I couldn't want anyone to be next to me on the podium more than her. Sara is a very good friend of mine too, and we don't get to spend as much time together because she lives in like the town where the airport is. She just lives a little further out. But we've been together so much, and we've competed together at invitationals and all the Icelandic championships and the games, and just so fun to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
All of us are just, we love to smile, we love to laugh, and we love to work out.
Mm-hmm. Yep, y'all are always smiling and laughing in all the videos more than I think most other people. What do you think it is about Iceland that makes you 3 girls so competitive?
So Iceland is very, at least like my mom she brought me up like believing that there's never any limits to anything. I've always kind of like, she raised me in a way that I can do whatever I want to. And that's very Icelandic. Whether you're a girl or a boy, like I don't know, run like a girl isn't a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a pretty badass thing. I feel like there's such like gender equality in Iceland, and there's such good, strong female role models in Iceland. We have great swimmers. We have great people in like track. And I think that we have the first female president in the world. We just have strong female role models.
Mm-hmm. I want to stop you real quick. So you say that you grew up, and it's very Icelandic to think that you can do anything. You're taught that you can do anything, and that's like in America, we're told we can do anything, but I think that they're talking about we have the freedom to do anything, and I think you're talking about something different, right?
Yeah, I think it's just like I am talking about, I'm not talking about there's a freedom to do anything. I'm more talking about, I can run. When I was a kid, I was always in a competition, whether it's competition, run to the next lamppost, or whether it was, our swim session in school. I was always competing with the boys, or the gym session. I was always running with, like, I didn't see any difference. Like, I just wanted to run, or just wanted to compete against anyone. I compete against the boys if I want to, or the other, like, girls that wanted to compete against, or whatever. I was just like, I don't even really know how to decide. It was just taught me how to be determined. And if there's anything that I want, there isn't, like, a limit to it, or isn't, like, stupid to go after your dreams or anything. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But, what was I answering again?
I think you answered it. So it's funny you're talking about all of this. I had a guest on last week named Justin Sua, who is the sports psychologist for the Red Sox, and we talked a lot about something called a growth mindset. Have you talked about growth versus fixed mindsets before?
No, actually I've not.
So all of this that you're talking about is like straight growth mindset, right? Like failure is not a negative thing. It's the path to growth. And this piece that you're talking about right now, where you can do anything you want as long as you put the effort into it, right? And we always hear that, but a lot of people don't, they don't think about that in all aspects of their life. They think like, I'm a dumb person, or I'm a smart person, and that's a fixed trait, something like that. And what you're talking about is you can get better at anything, right?
Yeah. So and that's funny. I truly believe that. I believe that, you can become the best at anything that you want. And I'm not saying that, you can become the best at CrossFit if you want. And I'm not saying that you can live your day-to-day life like you do right now and do that. I'm saying that if you focus solely on that, you can do that. It's going to take sacrifices, and it's going to take, saying no to things. It's going to, a lot of hard work. But I think whatever you want to do, if you focus solely on that, you can do it. And it's just like, not everyone even wants that. Not everyone wants to, like, sacrifice time with their family, or sacrifice desserts, or sacrifice trips to go somewhere. But it's something that I truly believe in. Anything that you want, you can become the best. You can do, or just achieve anything that you want, but with work.
Right.
A whole lot of work.
Yeah, people, they really want the outcome, but they don't love the process. And I think that's where, most people fail. They don't learn to love the process, or they just, try to make it work despite hating the process, right?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of, like, people want quick results, and they kind of want some shortcuts, but there really aren't any. They want some magic program to follow, or things like that, and it really just comes down to, like, good old dirty hard work.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I got a couple more questions for you, Katrin. If you had to team up with one girl at the games, and there was going to be like a team Hunger Games, who would that person be, and why?
So it wouldn't be Annie, because I need someone to take care of all the bugs. I want someone like, that's a good question. It would be, I don't know. Maybe it would be, it's taken so long.
It's okay. That's a good question then. Stumped you.
I don't know. Maybe it would be Annie. Maybe we could just have a lot of fun doing Hunger Games.
A lot of fun. Awesome. Yeah. How far do you think you'd make it?
Not to the end.
Not. Well, you'd have a very good time.
I'll pick a winning team.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay. If you had one message that you wanted to share with all of your followers, all the little girls that look up to you, everybody that looks up to you, what would that message be?
Be the best you. And I know I say it a lot, and I know it comes out cheesy, but I think we should stop comparing ourselves to others. I think we should start looking internally and just focusing on becoming better versions of ourselves. We can't expect a better result than that. Like, comparing yourself to others can never give you a better result than comparing yourself to yourself and just becoming the best version of you. And I think, that gives you peace of mind and satisfaction and added confidence.
That is such a great answer. That's all we really want anyway, right? We want to become the best at whatever we're interested in. And I think a lot of people just make the mistake of constantly comparing, right? Testing, and not enough time on the practice, whatever it may be, CrossFit, studies, career, relationships, whatever. So That's a great answer. I love that. Where can people find you, Katrin?
Right now?
No, on the social medias.
I was like, I'm in Boston. So my Instagram is Katrin Tanya, which is my middle name. So Katrin, and then Tanja, and that's my Snapchat. I love Snapchat. Big into that. So that's that too. And I'm like trying to get more into Twitter. I'm not great there.
Oh.
Facebook is Katrin Davidsdottir.
Awesome. Well, Katrin, good luck in this upcoming year. I know you're going to do great. All your hard work over the past year, since you've already won the games, all your hard work, even this past year, has really shown. And I think that's going to be bad news for the rest of the field. So good luck. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks for having me.